and this is Big Girls Books. Today we're going to be talking about 2023 book releases. I'm so excited. I don't look excited, but I am. So I went through Goodreads and just picked out a bunch of books that released in 2023 from January to June. So this is just like the first half of the year. I have my Goodreads pulled up on my monitor behind the camera, and I'm going to go through, talk about the books I'm super excited about, and kind of read about them. So most of these I haven't read like full-on synopses of, just because most of them I picked them because I know the author and I just want to read their next book, or I've kind of heard about this upcoming book, or honestly, I thought the cover was cool. Okay? So I saved them. So, the first one is releasing January 10th. Well, these are not in order. I tried, but I don't think they are. So, the first one I'm going to talk about releases January 10th. It is by Lucinda Berry, who wrote The Perfect Child that I loved and The Phantom Limb that I really liked. So, her newest one is called Off the Deep End. I kind of just want to read all of her books, so that's why I saved it. So this one says, a heart-stopping psychological thriller about the shades of truth and the power of lies in the wake of one mother's unspeakable loss. Therapist turned stay-at-home mom, Jules Hart's idyllic suburban life shatters when she crashes her car into an icy lake. Her son and another teenage boy plunge into the water with her, but Jules can only manage to save one. The wrong one. Reeling from the death of her son, Jules spirals into a violent and unstable mental state. 10 months after the accident, she's still trying to reckon with the fact that she rescued Isaac Greer, another woman's child, when Isaac suddenly vanishes. Jules finds herself at the center of a massive police investigation. While she harbors her own dangerous secrets, Jules is adamant that she didn't take Isaac, but then who did? Is Isaac the victim of a dangerous killer who's been targeting boys in the Midwest, or is someone else pulling the strings in this deadly game? I just love Lucinda Berry. She is a therapist of sorts. I don't remember what she does, but she actually worked in the field that she writes about, so I love her books because they go like deep into like the psychological aspects of these things. So I mean, other writers can write about them, don't get me wrong, but she knows, she's seen it in work all the time. Like, I just really love her take on, like, the mental aspects of it. So, like, grief and loss in this one, and I don't know. I just really love Lucinda Berry, so I'm very excited about that one. Hopefully it's on Kindle Unlimited, like most of her other books, so then I can read it for free. Let's see. The next one is The Villa by Rachel Hawkins. So I read... What did I read? A book. Oh my gosh. The Wife Upstairs by Rachel Hawkins. I also read a YA, like, series from her a long time ago. I didn't even, like, connect that they were the same at first. So this one's called The Villa. Releasing... Let's see. Did I already say it? January 3rd. So... She also wrote Reckless Girls. That's right. So I have that one, but I haven't read it yet. So I saved this one. This is a deliciously wicked gothic suspense set in an Italian villa with a dark history. Okay, whatever. As kids, Emily and Chess were inseparable, but by their 30s, their bond has been strained by the demand of their adult lives. So in Chess... That is a terrible name. When Chess suggests a girl's trip to Italy, Emily jumps at the chance to reconnect with her best friend. The Villa in Orvieto. I'm not Italian, friends. This villa is a high-end holiday home now, but in 1974 it was known as Villa Rosato and rented for the summer by a notorious rock star, Noel Gordon. In an attempt to reignite his creative spark, Noel invites up-and-coming musician Pierce Sheldon to join him, as well as Pierce's girlfriend Mary and her stepsister Laura. But he also sets in motion a chain of events that leads to Mary writing one of the greatest horror novels of all time, Laura composing a platinum album, and ends in Pierce's brutal murder. As Emily digs into the villa's complicated history, she begins to think There might be more to the story of the fateful summer in 1974, that perhaps Pierce's murder wasn't just a tale of sex, drugs, and rock and roll gone wrong, but that something more sinister might have occurred, and that there might be clues hidden in the now iconic works that Mary and Laura left behind. Yet the closer that Emily gets to the truth, the more tension she feels developing between her and Chess. As secrets from the past come to light, equally dangerous portrayals from the present also emerge, and it begins to look like the villa will claim another victim before the summer ends. Inspired by Fleetwood Mac, the Manson murders, and the infamous summer Percy and Mary Shelley spent with Lord Byron at a Lake Geneva castle, the birthplace of Frankenstein, the villa welcomes you into its deadly legacy. Well, that's quite a mashup. Friggin' Fleetwood Mac, Charles Manson, and friggin' Mary Shelley and Frankenstein? What the heck? Well, that sounds interesting. Interesting indeed. Okay, so the next one that comes out in January 10th, is called All the Dangerous Things by Stacy Willingham. I actually already have this book on my bookshelf over there because it was a Book of the Month book for December and I snagged it. So I already have this one. Let me read it to you. Stacy Willingham also wrote A Flicker in the Dark, which was super popular last year, which that was her first book, so this is her second novel. So it says, 1 year ago, Isabel Drake's life changed forever. Her toddler son, Mason, was taken out of his crib in the middle of the night while she and her husband were asleep in the next room. With little evidence and few leads for the police to chase, the case quickly went cold. However, Isabel cannot rest until Mason is returned to her. Literally. I'm assuming she doesn't sleep. Except for the occasional catnap or small blackout where she loses track of time, she hasn't slept in a year. Listen, I have no problem sleeping, and I can't imagine. Isabel's entire existence now revolves around finding him, but she knows she can't go on this way forever. In hopes of jarring loose a new witness or buried clue, she agrees to be interviewed by a true crime podcaster. Love a podcast. Love it. But his interest in Isabella's past makes her nervous. His incessant questioning paired with her severe insomnia has brought up uncomfortable memories from her own childhood, making Isabel start to doubt her recollection of the night of Mason's disappearance, as well as second guess who she can trust, including herself. But she is determined to figure out the truth no matter where it leads. Unreliable narrators are a little bit old, but I'm so excited for it. Okay. This one comes out January 24th. It is called the TWYFORD Code. TWYFORD? I don't know. It's by Janice Hallett. I have another one of her books called The Appeal, so I was interested in this. I also really like the cover. Okay. So, this one says, the mysterious connection between a teacher's disappearance and an unsolved code in a children's book is explored in this fresh novel from the author of The Appeal. Okay. 40 years ago, Stephen Smith, also known as Smithy, found a copy of a famous children's book by disgraced author Edith Twyford. Its margins full of strange markings and annotations. When he showed it to his remedial English teacher, Miss Isles, she believed that it was part of a secret code that ran through all of Twyford's novels, and when she disappeared on a class field trip, Smithy became convinced that she had been right. Is she the teacher? I'm assuming. Now, out of prison, after a long stretch, Smithy decides to investigate the mystery that has haunted him for decades. In a series of voice recordings on an old iPhone from his estranged son, Smithy alternates between visiting the people of his childhood and looking back on the events that later landed him in prison. But it soon becomes clear that Edith Twyford wasn't just a writer of forgotten children's stories. The TWYFORD Code holds a great secret, and Smithy may just have the key. Janice Hallett has constructed a fiendishly clever, maddeningly original crime novel for lovers of word games, puzzles, and stories of redemption. Now, that was a lot, and I'm honestly more confused than when I began. But I do like a little code situation, like decipher the code, little zodiac situation. Also love a missing children's author. That was kind of what A History of Wild Places, it started out with a children's author that had gone missing. So I love that book. This book doesn't sound anything like that book, but I like that part of it. The time jump, don't love that, but that's okay. We'll see. We shall see. Next is coming out January 31st, called The Drift by C.J. Tudor. She has written The Chalkman that I read and really enjoyed. And she wrote The Other People. I loved that one a lot, more than The Chalkman. The Chalkman was fine. I think I gave it 3 stars. I loved The Other People. Loved that one. She has another one, The Burning Girls. I haven't read that I have seen a lot on YouTube, but I haven't read that one. So, this one says, 3 ordinary people risk everything for a chance at redemption in this audacious, utterly gripping novel of catastrophe and survival at the end of the world from the acclaimed author of The Chalkman. I love end of the world, dystopian situations. So, I'm instantly intrigued. Hannah awakens to carnage, all mangled metal and shattered glass. During a hasty escape from a secluded boarding school, her coach careened over a hillside road during one of the year's heaviest snowstorms, trapping her inside with a handful of survivors, a brewing virus, and no way to call for help. If she and the remaining few want to make it out alive with their sanity and secrets intact, they'll need to work together or they'll be buried alive with the rest of the dead. Jeez. A former detective, Meg, awakens to a gentle rocking. She is in a cable car suspended far above a snowstorm and surrounded by strangers in the same uniform as her, with no memory of how they got there. They are heading to a mysterious place known to them only as the Retreat, but when they discover a dead man among their ranks and Meg spies a familiar face, she realizes that there is something far more insidious going on. Carter is gazing out the window of the abandoned ski chalet that he and his ragtag compatriots call home. Together they manage a precarious survival, manufacturing vaccines against a deadly virus in exchange for life's essentials. But as their generator begins to waver, the threat of something lurking in the chalet's depths looms larger, and their fragile bonds will be tested when their power finally fails for good. The imminent dangers faced by Hannah, Meg, and Carter are each one part of the puzzle. Lurking in the shadows is an even greater threat, one that threatens to consume all of humanity. I don't actually know if that does sound interesting anymore. So we shall see. I'll kind of wait and see if I see people talk about it, what they say about it. But I have liked that author in the past, so I was interested, but don't love a virus situation. I don't know. We'll see about that one. This one comes out February 14th. It is called The Last Tale of the Flower Bride by Roshani, Chokshi? I don't know. This one was a straight up cover, was stunning. So I read it and I remember liking what I read, but I don't remember right now. So I'm going to read it again. A sumptuous gothic-infused story about a marriage that is unraveled by dark secrets, a friendship cursed to end in tragedy, and the danger of believing in fairy tales. This is the adult debut from that author that I can't pronounce. Once upon a time, a man who believed in fairy tales married a beautiful, mysterious woman named Indigo. Beautiful name. He was a scholar of myths. She was heiress to a fortune. They exchanged gifts and stories and believed they would live happily ever after. In exchange for her love, Indigo extracted a promise that her bridegroom would never pry into her past. But when Indigo learns that her estranged aunt is dying and the couple is forced to return to her childhood home, the House of Dreams, will soon find himself unable to resist. For within the crumbling manor's extravagant rooms and musty halls, there lurks the shadows of another girl. Indigo's dearest childhood friend who suddenly disappeared. Is that... I know some of y'all played Clue. Prince Azure, is that his name? Wow. No, is his Azul? I don't remember, but that's what that reminded me of. Okay. As the house slowly reveals his wife's secrets, the groom will be forced to choose between reality and fantasy, even if doing so threatens to destroy their marriage or their lives. Combining the lush, haunting atmosphere of Mexican Gothic, which I didn't like, with the dreamy enchantment of the invisible life of Ada LaRue, The Last Tale of the Flower Bride is a spellbinding and darkly romantic page-turner about love and lies, secrets and betrayal, and the stories we tell ourselves to survive. Sounds good to me. What else has this person written? Anyway, that one sounds super interesting. Once again, I'll probably wait and see what people say, but I'm very interested in that one. It looks beautiful and it sounds really good. Ooh. This one comes out February 7th. Oops, got it a little backwards. That's okay. This one's called Stone Blind by Natalie Haynes. She has also written quite a few other books. She writes like Greek mythology. I'm sure you can tell by the cover. It's beautiful, stunning. So she wrote 1,000 Ships. I haven't read it, but I'm super interested in reading that one. And she wrote Pandora's Jar, which I own. I'm currently reading, but I thought it was going to be more of like a fictional retelling of all of these women in Greek mythology. But no, it's literally like her thesis on Greek women. Like each chapter is a separate woman, how they're brought up with like receipts. Okay, she has like books mentioned and quoted and all that. Like it is very scholarly opposed to a fun ride that I was anticipating. So I loved Madeline Miller's Circe, and I liked Madeline Miller's other one, Song of Achilles. There we go. So I thought it was going to be like that. It wasn't. I still enjoy it, but it's more of like I said, scholarly. So 1,000 Ships, I believe, is not a nonfiction. I believe it's a fiction. So I've heard that one's really good. And this one sounds similar. It is a fiction. Retelling. Fiction. Perfect. So this one says, she returns with a fresh and stunningly perceptive take on the story of Medusa, the original monster woman. They will fear you and flee you and call you a monster. The only mortal in a family of gods, Medusa is the youngest of the Gorgon sisters. Unlike her siblings, Medusa grows older, experiences changes, feels weakness. Her mortal lifespan gives her an urgency that her family will never know. When the sea god Poseidon assaults Medusa in Athene's temple, the goddess is enraged. Furious by the violation of her sacred space, Athene takes revenge on the young woman. What? Punished for Poseidon's actions, Medusa is forever transformed. Writhing snakes replace her hair, and her gaze will turn any living creature to stone. Cursed with the power to destroy all she loves with one look, Medusa condemns herself to a life of solitude. I feel like that's very much like Circe. Until Perseus embarks upon a fateful quest to fetch the head of a Gorgon. In Stone Blind, classicist and comedian Natalie Haynes turns our understanding of the legendary myth on its head, bringing empathy and nuance to one of the earliest stories in which a woman injured by a powerful man is blamed, punished, and monstered for the assault. Delving into the origins of the mythic tale, Haynes revitalizes and reconstructs Medusa's story with her passion and fierce wit, offering a timely retelling of the classic myth that speaks to us today. If you couldn't gather from that synopsis, she's very, very much like retelling the story from the women's side, very like feminist F-men situation. I don't know exactly what 1,000 Ships is about, but I'm pretty sure, well, let's look. I'm pretty sure each chapter of that is also, like a separate woman. Oh, it's like the women of Troy, I believe. From the Trojan women whose fates now lie in the hands of the Greeks. Yeah. So it's about many women. That one is. But yeah, I really love Greek mythology. I like really any mythology. It's just super interesting. And I really enjoy the retellings. So there's that one. February something. This one is coming out February 28th. It is called The Angel Maker by Alex North. Now, I own 2 of Alex North's books and have yet to read them. I know. Okay. It's fine. I have a problem. It's fine. So I've already seen really good reviews for this one, and it comes out February 28th. So this says, a dark, suspenseful new thriller about the mystery of fate, the unbreakable bonds of siblings, and a notorious serial killer who was said to know the future. I love serial killers, so I'm already very excited. I need some water. Growing up in a beautiful house in the English countryside, Katie Shaw lived a charmed life. At the cusp of graduation, she had big dreams, a devoted boyfriend, and a little brother she protected fiercely until the day a violent stranger changed the fate of her family forever. Years later, still unable to live down the guilt surrounding what happened to her brother Chris, and now with a child of her own to protect, Katie struggles to separate the real threats from the imagined. Then she gets the phone call. Chris has gone missing and needs his big sister once more. Well, I thought he was dead, but I guess not. Meanwhile, Detective Lawrence Page is facing a particularly gruesome crime. A distinguished professor of fate and free will has been brutally murdered just hours after firing his staff. All the leads point back to 2 old cases, the gruesome attack on teenager Christopher Shaw and the despicable crimes of a notorious serial killer who, legend had it, could see the future. That's crazy. I like the future aspect of it. Anyway, there's that one. Sounds delightful. Oops. This one's January 10th. Oops. This one is Just the Nicest Couple by Mary Kubica. So she's written a bunch of books. Oh, no wait, did I read that? The Other Miss? I think I did. And it says it's on Netflix, so I'm about to go do that after this. The Other Miss, Mary Kubica wrote, and I loved that one. Loved it. She came out with a book last year, I think. It's called Local Woman Missing. I've yet to read it. Same story, same song and dance. Okay. So her newest one, Just the Nicest Couple, comes out, like I said, January 10th. Okay. It says 2 couples, 2 close friends, 1 missing husband. Jake Hayes is missing. This much is certain. At first, his wife, Nina, thinks he's blowing off steam at a friend's house after their heated fight the night before. But then, a day goes by, 2 days, 5, and Jake is still nowhere to be found. Lily Scott, Nina's friend and coworker, thinks she may have been the last to see Jake before he went missing. After Lily confesses everything to her husband, Christian, the two decide that nobody can find out what happened leading up to Jake's disappearance, especially not Nina. But Nina is out there looking for her husband, and she won't stop until the truth is discovered. So that sounds like very domestic thriller vibes, which I like. Don't get me wrong. It sounds good. I like the cover, which is not a reason to get a book, but I do like the cover. It's beautiful. Okay, there's that one. Let's see. This one comes out February 28th as well. Let's go back to February. This one is called Immortality, a Love Story. Please, the cover of this book kills me. I want her to do one with lungs. She probably won't, but it'd be stunning. Okay, this is the second book, which I tried not to do that, but whatever. This is the second book to Anatomy, a Love Story. So this one's called Immortality, a Love Story. First one's a heart. This one's a brain. I'm not going to read it because I haven't read the heart one. Once again, same story. Different book. Haven't read it. But this cover is beautiful. I want to read Anatomy and I want to read this when it comes out. Beautiful cover. Okay. I'm not going to read this when it comes out. I'm going to read it once I finish the other one. Ah, yes. So this one, Arch-Conspirator by Veronica Roth. I don't know how I feel about this one yet. I loved Veronica Roth growing up. I read Divergent, watched them, loved them. Okay. So this is a new book of hers. It's adult. It says here on Goodreads. So that makes me more curious. Comes out February 21st. Okay. This book says, from dystopian visionary and best-selling phenomenon Veronica Roth comes a razor-sharp reimagination of Antigone. In Arch-Conspirator, Roth reaches back to the root of legend. That's right, I say root. Not root, I say root. The root of legend and delivers a world of tomorrow both timeless and unexpected. Outside the last city on Earth, the planet is a wasteland. I love it. Outside the last city on Earth, the planet is a wasteland. Without the archive, where the genes of the dead are stored, humanity will end. I already love it. Passing into the archive should be cause for celebration, but Antigone's parents were murdered. leaving her father's throne vacant. As her militant uncle Creon rises to claim it, all Antigone feels is rage. Who's Antigone? I need to look this up. What does that mean? Okay, all Antigone feels is rage when he welcomes her and her siblings. When he welcomes her and her siblings into his mansion, Antigone sees it for what it really is, a gilded cage, where she is captive as well as guest. But her uncle will soon learn that no cage is unbreakable, and neither is he. I like the sound of that, because I love the sound of the last city upon earth. So that really got me interested. The next one, also saw it for the cover, was interested. This one's February 7th. I'm all over the place, y'all. Okay, this one's called Such Pretty Flowers. This one I'm kind of like on the fence about, but it does sound really good. It is like a horror, it says adult horror, thriller, mystery, gothic fiction. Those are all the genres it says on Goodreads. Whoa, Daisy's hair be flying. Okay, so this one's by K.L. Cerra, is what I'm going to guess her last name is. Now, it says, Get it out of me. It was the last message Holly received from her brother Dane before he was found cleaved open in his fiance's lavish Savannah townhouse. Wow. Police ruled his death a suicide. What? Sparked by psychosis, but Holly can't take the idea that something else must have happened. Can't shake the idea, sorry. Something involving another message he sent that night. The one that mentioned a game his fiancée Maura wanted to play. Determined to discover the truth, Holly begins to stalk Maura, a magnetic, black-eyed florist with a penchant for carnivorous plants. But what begins as an investigation quickly veers into a darker fixation, one that lures Holly into the depths of Maura's world. Savannah high society, eerie black roses, and a whisper of something more sinister. Soon, Holly is feeling a dark attraction to the woman who she shouldn't trust. As Holly falls deeper for Maura and her secrets, she's left with only one choice. Find out what happened to Dane before she meets the same fate. It reminds me, well, it's giving me House of Hollow vibes. Sort of. Like, you know, the horror aspect of it. So that has me really, really intrigued. But it sounds really good. And anyway, I do want to read more fantasy this year. So this one is like a horror. Does it even say fantasy? No, it doesn't, baby. I don't know why I thought that it would be, but it's not. Maybe just the cover gave me horror or fantasy vibes, but it's not. Well, let's just scratch what I was about to say. Hee hee. Okay. So this next one is coming out March 7th. We're into March. I think February was the most. So it chills out after that. So March 7th, What Have We Done by Alex Finlay. Finlay? I don't know. Alex Finlay. He wrote Every Last Fear, which he wrote a lot of books, it looks like. Wow. Love it. But Every Last Fear he wrote, and I read that this year. And by this year, I mean 2022. I loved that book. And he wrote one in 2022. It came out called The Night Shift. Haven't read it yet, but I really, really want to. It sounds super good. So this is his 2023 release called What Have We Done? So it says, a stay-at-home mom with a past, a has-been rock star with a habit, a reality TV producer with a debt, 3 disparate lives, 1 deadly secret. So 25 years ago, Jenna, Donnie, and Nico were the best of friends, a bond forged as residents of Savior House, an abusive group home for parentless teens. When the home was shut down after the disappearance of several kids, the 3 were split up. Through the trauma of their childhood, the trauma of their childhood has never left them. Each went on to live successful, if troubled lives. They haven't seen one another since they were teens, But now reunited for a single haunting season, someone is trying to kill them. To save their lives, the group will have to revisit the nightmares of their childhoods and confront their past. A past that holds the secret to why someone wants them dead. It's a reunion none of them asked for or wanted, but it may be the only way to save all their lives. Sounds okay. It does sound good. Kind of average thriller vibes, but I did really like that one, so I do still really, really want to read it. Because I really, really liked, what's it called? Every Last Fear. Despite what you might think, because I can't remember the name, I did really enjoy it. Oh, Lord help us. Y'all are going to say, Bailey Ray, why do you want to read this book? And I will say, y'all, I don't know why I want to read this next book, but I do. Okay, it's coming out March 7th. God help me, it is by Peter Swanson. I do not know why I keep doing this to myself. This one is called The Kind Worth Saving. Now, to defend myself, I have said, and I stand by, I do not want to read any more Peter Swanson books. But this is the second one to one he wrote called The Kind Worth Killing, which I did enjoy. So this is the second one, and I'm going to read it because I read the first one, but after this, I'm not going to read him anymore. I don't care if this one's good. I have a feeling it won't be because it's a sequel, and the first one came out years ago, and he's just like, for some reason, coming back and bringing it up. But whatever. Oh. Okay, so it's obviously following the people after The Kind Worth Killing. So if you've read that book, you might be interested in this, The Kind Worth Saving. If you haven't read it, I did enjoy that one by him, so it's okay. So that's why I want to read this one, is because I've read that one. But after that, I don't want to read any more Peter Swanson. My life is too short to keep reading his books and being upset. Now, the next one comes out March 7th that I want to read, and it is called Weyward by Emilia Hart. Ooh, this one is a fantasy book. Okay, that's what I thought. But at first I was like, oh God, am I wrong again? So, this one's called Weyward. The cover caught my eye. It's beautiful. Don't judge me. This one says, 3 women, 5 centuries, 1 secret. I had nature in my heart, she said, like she did, and her mother before her. There was something about us, the wayward women, that bonded us more tightly with the natural world. We can feel it, she said, the same way we feel rage, sorrow, or joy. That was like in a quote. In 2019, Kate flees an abusive relationship in London for Crow's Beck, a remote Cumbrian village. Her destination is Weyward Cottage, inherited from her great aunt Violet, an eccentric entomologist. As Kate struggles with the trauma of her past, she uncovers a secret about the women in her family, a secret dating back to 1619, when her ancestor, Altha Weyward, was put on trial for witchcraft. Ooh, I love witches. Weyward is a stunning debut novel about gender and control, about the long echoes of male violence through the centuries, but more than that, is a celebration of nature, female power, and breaking free. Well, I love me some female power. So that one sounds really good. Very excited about that. Has no low reviews yet. Oh, there's a gif of Schmidt doing this. So I'm gonna love it because I love Schmidt. I love that. Okay, this one comes out March 7th. Y'all, I'm so excited for it. I never heard of it until I was like just randomly searching through Goodreads. This is how I searched. Okay, no, it's not. It is called Forager, Field Notes for Surviving a Family Cult, a memoir. This says, a moving, heartbreaking, and lyrical true story of the author's escape from an apocalyptic cult and the survival skills that led to her freedom. It is by Michelle Dowd. Now, I love learning about cults. I don't love cults, but I find them very interesting. I find the things people will believe coming out of other people's mouths very interesting, and what the cult leaders like their personality and stuff like that. For the most part, from what I've seen, they're not like physically forced into these cults. I think they're physically forced to stay, but they aren't physically forced to come to them, to my knowledge. I could be mistaken. But I think this would be really, really cool to read and kind of see. I'm not going to read you this really long thing. I think the title speaks for itself that it will be beautiful. Okay? A cult. Very excited. I'll probably get the audiobook. I hope it is narrated by her because those are always the best. Okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. This is coming out in April. Less sad. This one is called Happy Place by Emily Henry. I don't know why I did that because that's how excited I am about it. So, I love Emily Henry. Who doesn't? She wrote Beach Read, People We Meet on Vacation, Book Lovers. Those are her like more recent romances. Haven't read Book Lovers yet, but I do plan to. This one's called Happy Place. So, this one says, a couple who broke up months ago make a pact to pretend to still be together for their annual week-long vacation with their best friends. Who wants to become best friends with me and go on week-long vacations yearly? I don't know what jobs they have, but that's incredible. So I'm assuming it's like they made the plans, then they broke up before the vacation, and now they're like, well, we have the tickets, so we're going to go. But we're not going to tell anybody and ruin everyone's vacation. All right. Harriet and Wynne have been the perfect couple since they met in college. They go together like salt and pepper, honey and tea, lobsters and rolls. Except now, for reasons they're still not discussing, they don't. Well, that's fake. They broke up 6 months ago and still haven't told their friends, which is how they find themselves sharing the largest bedroom at the main cottage that has been their friend group's yearly getaway for the last decade. Their annual respite from the world where for one vibrant blue week they leave behind their daily lives, have copious amounts of cheese, wine, and seafood. Good luck pooping after that. And soak up the salty coastal air with the people who understand them most. Only this year, Harriet and Wynne are lying through their teeth while trying not to notice how desperately they still want each other. What? I'm already annoyed by the book. It better be good. Because the cottage is for sale, and this is the last week they'll all have together in this place. They can't stand to break their friends' hearts, and so they'll play their parts. Harriet will be the driven surgical resident who never starts a fight, and Wynne will be the laid-back charmer who never lets the cracks show. It's a flawless plan, if you look at it from the great distance and through a pair of sunscreen-smeared glasses. After years of being in love, how hard can it be to fake it for 1 week in front of those who know you best? Can you explain to me why they're broken up if they want to be together? Notice how desperately they still want each other. What? That just sounds fucking stupid. That was really aggressive. I apologize. But I don't get that. I really hate stuff like that. It just sounds like it's miscommunication, which sometimes that really annoys me. Like, that irks me a lot when people are just not together because they don't want to tell the other person how they feel, but the other person feels the same way. And then you're just not telling each other these things, so then you're both just sad about it because you don't want to tell them. Whatever. So, clearly I'm a little triggered, but I still really want to read this, and I am excited about it because I do love Emily Henry, so hopefully it's not as stupid as it sounds, but this got negative. I thought that was going to be, like, the good part of this review, or this, like, video, me talking about Emily Henry, but then I read the synopsis, and I'm not loving what I read. Anyway, April 25th, The Last Word by Taylor Adams. So she wrote No Exit, which I haven't read, but everyone freaking loves, and No Exit just came available on Kindle Unlimited. So I have it on my Kindle Unlimited to read list. So I do plan on reading it. I'm very excited about it because everyone loves it. It's a winter thriller, so I should probably read it at the beginning of the year. The Last Word by Taylor Adams. After posting a negative book review, a woman living in a remote location begins to wonder if the author is a little touchy or very, very dangerous. In this pulse-pounding novel of psychological suspense and terror from the critically acclaimed author, Emma Carpenter lives in isolation with her golden retriever, Leica, house sitting on an old beachfront home on the rainy Washington coast. Her only human contact is her enigmatic old neighbor, Deke, and via text, the house's owner, Jules. One day, she reads a poorly written but gruesome horror novel by the author H.G. Cain and posts a 1-star review that drags her into an online argument with none other than the author himself. Soon after, disturbing incidents start to occur at night. To Emma, this can't be a coincidence. It was strange enough for this author to bicker with her online about a lousy review. Could he be stalking her too? That sounds really good. As Emma digs into Cain's life and work, she learns he has published 16 other novels, all similarly sadistic tales of stalking and murder. But who is he? How did he find her? And what else is he capable of? That sounds so good and creepy. So I like horror and scary things. Taylor Adams is a guy? What? Why did I think it was a woman this whole time? It still sounds really good. I just, for some reason, was picturing a woman for years that I've been hearing about her books. His books. Anyway, that doesn't matter. But I really like horror, scary movies, scary things. But the things that scare me the most are like real life things, I guess. But that sounds so good. Okay, this one comes out April 4th. It's called Tell Me What Really Happened. It's by Chelsea Sedoti. Never heard of her. It is YA mystery thriller, so we'll see. I don't usually read YA mystery thrillers, I don't think. But this one says there are stories about the woods around Salvation Creek, about the people who have gone missing. Now their friend is one of them. A riveting, fast-paced YA mystery told entirely through first-person police interviews. That's why I liked it. Of 4 teens over the course of a few hours. I love interviews. I love books with anything other than just reading, which makes no sense. I wouldn't say this is multimedia, but it's different, sort of. It's told in strictly interviews. That's really cool. I don't know. I think that's really cool. Anyway, it was all her idea. They would get away from their parents and spend the weekend camping. Down by the Salvation Creek, the 5 of them would make s'mores, steal kisses, and share secrets. But sometime around midnight, she vanished. The 4 friends who came back are under suspicion, and they each have a very different story to tell about what happened in the woods. The clock is ticking. What are they hiding? Who is lying? Dark truths must come to light if their friend is to be found. Told entirely through first-person interviews. What really happened? Okay, yeah, that sounds good. From the interview part, I bet it would be a sick audiobook. They could do a lot with the audiobook. Cast, that could be a really good audiobook. Okay, next one. The Marriage Act by John Mars. Once again, I have a book by John Mars. Haven't freaking read it. Come for me. But his stuff sounds really good. He has some stuff on Kindle Unlimited as well. Okay, so this one's called The Marriage Act by John Mars. Coming out May 2nd. We're getting to June, y'all. We're getting to June. This says... set in the same world as The One. The Marriage Act is a dark, high-concept thriller. I love all those words. So I need to read The One first, which I think his other books, The Passengers, is also in, the same world as The One, and another one he wrote, The Minders. I'm pretty sure, they're all in, the same universe. So, what if marriage was the law? Dare you disobey? What does that even mean? Okay, Britain, the near future. A right-wing government believes it has the answer to society's ills. The Sanctity of Marriage Act, which actively encourages marriage as the norm, punishing those who choose to remain single. I thought it was going to punish you if you got a divorce. Punishes you if you're single. But 4 couples are about to discover just how impossible relationships can be when the government is monitoring every aspect of our personal lives. Monitoring every word, every minor disagreement, and it will use every tool in its arsenal to ensure everyone will love, honor, and obey. This says Black Mirror meets thriller with a dash of Naomi Alderman's The Power. Oh, I've heard that's good. I love Black Mirror. I love Black Mirror concepts. I just love everything about Black Mirror. Random shout out to my boy Harry Styles. If you haven't seen the movie he's in that I can't remember at this time, so now I have to look it up because I'm a shitty fan and I can't remember the freaking movie. Don't worry, darling. Came to me. Didn't have to Google it, friends. Didn't have to Google it. Don't worry, darling. That is such a good movie. Very Black Mirror vibes. I'm sure a lot of people, if you don't like Black Mirror, if you don't like somewhat confusing things, you might not like it. But this is giving me Black Mirror vibes. I freaking love Black Mirror. Please give me all the Black Mirror-esque books down below. Please, please, please. We're in June, y'all. We have 4 more. Okay. This one is Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood. Another romance author that I really enjoy. I've only read 1 book by her, so I don't know why I'm saying that. The Love Hypothesis, but I do really want to read Love on the Brain. She has some short stories that I want to read. She really is freaking with these books. I'm pretty sure Love Hypothesis came out this year, if not last year, but she's just going crazy. Okay. They're all kind of similar. They're like women in STEM. They're romances. I don't know if I really want to read it. I'm pretty sure it's like a enemies to lovers situation. Maybe fake dating. But anyway, it's a romance novel that I really want to read. Okay. That one is June 13th, if I didn't already say it. This one's called 0 Days by Ruth Ware. Why I did this, I don't know. But I am so freaking excited. Well, I love Ruth Ware. Let me just say that. I've read In a Dark, Dark Wood by Ruth Ware. The Turn of the Key. Excellent. Beautiful. Wonderful. The Turn of the Key is my favorite. 1 by 1. Loved it. There was another one I've read. The Lying Game. That one's not as good. I have The Death of Miss Westway, Woman in Cabin 10, and The It Girl still to read by her. Woman in Cabin 10, everyone just shits on it though, so. But I still want to read it. So she's coming out with a new one on June 20th, 2023. It's called 0 Days. Okay. She returns with this adrenaline-fueled thriller that combines Mr. and Miss Smith with a fugitive about a woman in a race against time to clear her name and find her husband's murderer. Hired by companies to break into buildings and hack security systems, Jack and her husband Gabe are the best penetration specialists in the business. But after a routine assignment goes horribly wrong, Jack arrives home to find her husband dead. To add to her horror, the police are closing in on their suspect. Her. Surprise, surprise. It's always the spouse. Suddenly on the run and quickly running out of options, Jack must decide who she can trust as she circles closer to the real killer. In the unput-downable and heart-pounding mystery from an author whose propulsive prose keeps readers on the hook and blah, blah, blah. Okay. Man, it sounds okay. I'm still going to read it. Oh, Lordy. Lordy. This one sounds so good. Riley Sager, the only one left. I'm almost positive Riley Sager and Ruth Ware released books at the exact same time in 2022 as well. Their 2023 releases are releasing on the exact same day. Y'all need to figure it out. Okay, this one's by Riley Sager, who wrote The Only One Left. I've read Final Girls, The Last Time I Lied, Same Song and Dance. I have his other books, haven't read them. Okay, this one sounds so freaking good. It's giving me Turn of the Key vibes by Ruth Ware, which is based on Turn of the Screw, which House, like the Bly Manor, Haunting of Bly Manor on Netflix is based off of Turn of the Screw as well. So this is giving me like Turn of the Screw vibes. So this one says it is a gothic chiller about a young caregiver assigned to work for a woman accused of a Lizzie Borden-like massacre decades earlier. So this has like a cute little rhyme in the description. At 17, Lenora Hope hung her sister with a rope. Now reduced to a schoolyard chant, the Hope family murders shocked the Maine coast one bloody night in 1929. While most people assumed 17-year-old Lenora was responsible, the police were never able to prove it. Other than her denial after the killings, she has never spoken publicly about that night, nor has she set foot outside Hope's Inn, the cliffside mansion where the massacre occurred. Part of the rhyme. Stabbed her father with a knife, took her mother's happy life. It is now 1983, and home health aide Kit McDeer arrives at a decaying Hope's Inn to care for Lenora after her previous nurse fled in the middle of the night. In her 70s and confused and confined to a wheelchair, Lenora was rendered mute by a series of strokes and can and can only communicate with Kit by typing out sentences on an old typewriter. This is freaky, giving me some mad misery vibes. One night, Lenora uses it to make a tantalizing offer. I want to tell you everything. It wasn't me, Lenora said, but she's the only one not dead. Part of the rhyme. As Kit helps Lenora write about the events leading to the Hope family massacre, it becomes clear there's more to the tale than people know. But when new details about her predecessor's departure come to light, Kit starts to suspect Lenora might not be telling the complete truth, and that the seemingly harmless woman in her care could be far more dangerous than she first thought. Also, it's giving me some Verity vibes. That's all I'm going to say. My throat really hurts from talking so much. That one sounds so good. Wow. Okay, last one, y'all. This one comes out June 27th. Oh, I thought there was like no freaking description. Okay, this one's called The Invocations by Crystal frickin' Sutherland. She wrote House of Hollow, which I freaking love, and I never shut up about. So she's coming out with a new book, and I'm very excited about it. This one says, from the author of House of Hollow comes a darkly seductive witchy thriller where, though both men and demons lurk in shadows, girls refuse to go quietly into the night. Wow, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. Zara Jones believes in magic because the alternative is too painful to bear, that her sister was murdered by a serial killer, and there is precisely nothing she can do to change it. Wow. If there's anything Zara cannot stand, it's feeling powerless, so she decides she will do whatever it takes, even if that means partaking in the occult, to bring her sister back from the dead. Jude Wolfe might be the daughter of a billionaire, but she is also undeniably cursed. After a deal with a demon went horribly wrong, her soul is now slowly turning necrotic. Flowers and insects die in her wake. Wow, this is very House of Hollow. Flowers and insects die in her wake, and monstrous things come to taunt her at night. If Jude can't find the right someone to fix her mistake, she fears she'll die very soon. Enter Emmer Brine, the solution to both Zara and Jude's predicaments. The daughter of a witch, Emmer sells spells to women in desperate situations willing to sacrifice a part of their soul in exchange for a bit of power, a bit of magic to change their lives. But Emmer has a dark past all her own, and as her former clients are murdered one by one, she knows it's followed her all the way to London. As Zara and Jude enter Emmer's orbit, they'll have to team up to stop the killer before they each end up next on his list. Wow. What a way to freaking end it. It says it's young adult horror. Wow. That sounds freaking incredible. Just freaking incredible. I cannot wait for that. Okay, that's all of them. It's a lot. I'm sorry this video is so freaking long, but I wanted to like read the descriptions because I didn't know what any of them were about. So y'all need to know what they're about too. I hope you enjoyed this super long video. I apologize it's so long, but those are all the books I wanted to read in the first half of the year, or like the ones I'm excited about, / somewhat not excited about, but authors I enjoy. And so I'll keep my eye out for them. Let me know what you're most excited for, even if it's not one of these books, but also if it is one of these books, let me know. And yeah, I thank you so much for watching this video, and I apologize again that it is so long. Thank you. Bye.